Hey everyone, this is Jonah Johnson with you for another edition of JJ in the Field.
Morning everybody, Jonah Johnson here. I'm with Alex Chandler down here in southeast Ohio, and we are looking at some wheat fields. So for us right now, the last couple weeks we've had some really hard freezes in some of the mornings. So killing frost defined as 28 degrees for 2 hours, and more or less we had that in a lot of part of Ohio multiple times. We had that again here just this past Tuesday. Today's Friday, third week of April. And so we have some wheat here that's probably one of the more advanced that I've seen, hence more southern location latitude in Ohio. Not so surprised to see some of this more advanced wheat. So we're at essentially the Feeks growth stage 8. So we have 2 nodes above the soil surface, which is represented by here. And so at this growth stage, if you're trying to growth stage your wheat right now, if you kind of run your hands longitudinally along the wheat stalk, you can kind of feel a swollen spot here in the plant. So at this time, the growing point should be somewhere within here. And so anytime, that's very similar to growth stage, vegetative stage 6 in corn, when the growing point or the head is above the soil surface. So anytime we get into these more advanced growth stages and we have a cold spell, the wheat plant loses more and more of its winter hardiness, meaning that it's like a shedding winter coats, and so it's more sensitive to more warmer temperatures that the climate's providing us. So once we get above that Feeks growth stage 6, it becomes more and more sensitive to higher temperatures. So right now we're going to go ahead and walk this field and examine some plants, and what we're going to do is initially we're going to cut these plants in half and look at the growing point and see if we can tell. So typically after a cold event, we got to wait 7 to 10 days of actively growing temperatures to validate whether or not it was cold enough to damage the wheat. And so we were suspicious this is about Feeks growth stage 8, which we see 2 nodes above the soil surface. And so the next question is to look at mortality of the plant. And so as we had growing points above the ground with some killing frost potential, we want to examine the growing point. So if you want to zoom in here, Alex. So if you note the whole plant here, we have multiple nodes, 1 and 2. And here is the growing point. So you can as simply as take a sharp box knife like I did, cut longitudinally, which is up the stalk of the straw. And you can see there is that that futuristic wheat head that we'll be seeing pop out of that plant here in about 3 or 4 weeks, similar to on a corn plant. So if you note, to me this looks pretty healthy thus far. Typically it takes 7 to 10 days of active warm temperatures, which we should be getting into the more consistent 60-degree temperatures to make a solid evaluation. So in reality we should come back and do this in about 7 to 10 more days, because it's still been chilly and the soil temperature is still rather cool. But if you look at this growing point, what you want to see is kind of what I'm seeing here now, is that you want to see green, something that's not turgid, meaning it's not soft brown, glossy and squishy looking. This feels firm to the touch. And so at this point, it looks like that's a viable wheat head. So this is the most sensitive part of the wheat plant, again, like we mentioned in the previous video. So like in western Kentucky right now, they had wheat that was already headed and went through those temperatures. And if this point gets killed off and sterilized, essentially it'll still grow vegetatively, but it won't grow reproductively.
This is Jonah T. Johnson, Sales Agronomist with PCT Sunrise. Thanks for watching.